these are the twin poverty alleviation tools that are brought to the world, to the civilization in the world that was not known before Islam. And then anybody who try to sabotage them is going to pay certain consequences. One of the consequences is that you may not enjoy the obedience of the Muslim Ummah or whatever you bring to contradict these very twin pillars of the modern Muslim society. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in his own way, there is a And the Jews are saying each Muslim should have a zakat anniversary day. What do we mean by zakat anniversary day? Because it's not every Muslim that is under the obligation of paying zakat. It is only those who are wealthy. And you don't become wealthy overnight. So from the day you give the jackpot, you become rich. Perhaps today, 22nd of February, or the gift of Ramadan, you give the jackpot. Maybe other ways the person smile at you, and you become wealthy. You start investing. So this is your zakat anniversary day. Then we start calculating against you by 2027, February 21st, 2027. That is the anniversary of your zakat. You know the reason why we want to have an anniversary? Because success in life is not a straight line. It's not a straight line. Today you are getting the money, tomorrow you can lose everything. But once you are possessing today, then the countdown starts against you. You may lose everything next day, you may lose everything next month, or 2 months thereafter. But if by 21st February 2027, we conduct an audit of your account and we see that you reach the minimum threshold, you have the result, then you have to pay the tax. Because you enjoy the feeling, the mental pleasure of being rich from last year to this year. How do you get the point? And when you are taking your calculation, including the income that came last night, on the night of the 21st, whatever you get will go back to the calculation. And that's why we are talking about our land point. You have to be rich. Being rich is not enough. You have to maintain that state of richness over a period of one. Period of one, how do you determine it? By setting aside the zakat anniversary day. So let everybody have exact zakat anniversary day. Once you become rich today, the countdown starts against you. Don't say I don't everything with don't say this and that. Whatever comes is building, is accumulating. And by the end of the anniversary night, you are under the tax application to come pay out. And it's very minimal. When the tax authorities are taking 5% or so, or 7.5 in some cases, you are only asked to pay 2.5%. Now, if we look at the gazetted copy, or the copy of the official gazette, number 117, published on the 26th day of June 2025, under the short title, each one in legal studies has a long title and has a short title, and it is cited by its short title. We call it a long legislative nickname. Its long title will state all the purpose of the law, and it used to be very relevant. About to provide an act to provide for this and that. But the legislative nickname, which is the short title of the law, is Nigerian Tax Act 2005. Now, if we look at section 30, subsection 2 of that act, it listed out about 5 to 6 allowable deduction. Deduction that you can do before you determine, before the tax authority determine your taxable income, their taxable wealth. These are allowed deduction, or they call them eligible deduction in the law. Eligible deduction. Things having to do, if you are living in a rented apartment with your rents, things having to do with national health insurance scheme that you are paying, things having to do with national housing fund. These are the issues that have been listed under the eligible deduction, allowable deduction, that these are not going to be taxable, they are tax deductible. But nowhere issue having to do with zakat and the principle obligatory to each of us as Muslims is mentioned. We may not appreciate the beauty of this conversation we are engaging today until we advance our mind to the high net worth individual among us. Among the wealthy Muslims, there are some that they are zakat they run into hundreds of billions. But there are those who can give even billions of dollars as zakat, judging from their assets. Now, if these billions, if these hundreds of billions are not made allowing deduction, it means you pay them as zakat. They are not yours, they are a tax possession. At the same time, the tax authority, when they come to make this new tax law to work, they will conduct an audit that is in this large amount of money being withdrawn from the account. And you have to pay taxation, you have to pay tax on it. How do you get the point? Now, you are paying tax on Allah's tax. Let's say the tax is Allah's tax. And the authority has said you have to pay tax on the zakat that are already paid. And you are not even entitled to utilize. How do you get the point? So this is the beauty of this dialogue. And I believe it's a timely dialogue. And I urge the authority, the relevant authority, look at this and try to do something about it. By making the card and allowing deduction in the new act, we will be encouraging, we will be granting incentives to wealthy Muslims to be based on that. And whoever makes this also is going to get work from Allah's Subhanahu. And anybody in the control authority who makes this will be qualified to be under the law that says, الَّذِينَ إِن مَكَّنَّاهُمْ فِي الْأَرْضِ أَقَامُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَآتَوُا الزَّكَاةَ. Whenever they are given authority, whenever they are in community of power, they establish prayer and let others establish the prayer. They as well pay the card out of their own wealth and encourage their citizens to pay the card. So by making it deductible, we are helping our wealthy Muslims to be encouraged. We are giving them with the way I said, incentivizing them to pay the zakat adequately, appropriately, and as a wage. So the reason to do this is like we are giving priority, we are giving importance to what is less important in Muslim communities of that. I believe for all Muslims, making rent, the deductible, tax deductible, is not as important as making some tax a tax deductible. And that's why I started to point that if a living law contradicts, if a written law contradicts a written law, chances are that piece of written law is dead on another. It can hardly be honored. Because I did this house as my money, as the money of Allah's Subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the tax collector, tax authority is saying according to me that this much money you move out as a card, you have to calculate tax for it. Because it has not been existing in the new tax law. The tax law will work better if the card is taken into account in the allowed deduction under the new constitutional tax regime. Like I made the point, for workers we have no problem because charitable causes, charitable gains are treated as allowed deduction. Now, what you add straight or let credit to this advocacy you are making is the fact that in corporate world at the companies, donation been attacks, just allow reduction before, say, calculation for payment of taxes. In line with this, and I believe that that should also be treated as tax deduction under the Nigerian tax regime. This is what we are passing. And in line with this, I would like to cover the following policy recommendation. Recommendation number 1 is that the new Nigerian Tax Act 2025 be amended to incorporate the tax and other compulsory religious giving to the cap of 2.5% annually. So if we get this in the Tax Act, it will work better, it will be more efficient, it will be more ordered for all concerned, because it has taken concern of our living mode, our belief as Muslim. Number 2, that Nigeria as a religious country, a country under God. For this reason, we advocate that all arms and levels of government, that is, horizontally, the arms of government, executive, legislature, and judiciary, and vertically, the levels of government, local government, state, and federation, and the federal government. All these, arms and levels of government, we are recommending that they should be consulting religious and traditional rulers before promulgating anything into law, to avoid putting their new law in conflict with the living law. Because once they are set properly, the law is bound to suffer. The written law, the statutory law, is bound to suffer. Recommendation number 3 is the Sharia implementing states. This is a call upon the Sharia implementing states. There are 4 northern states that are implementing Sharia all across. So this state, we have a recommendation to them to reposition their Zakat and Hukusis commissions. All these states that are implementing Sharia, some of the Sharia institutions they established in order to enable implementation of Sharia is Zakat and Hukus commissions. Hukusi is another name for water. In Mali, the Buddhists call it Hukus. That is another what is given number. In others of God, they call them water and they have the same meaning. Retention of a religious donation and utilization of policy to fund religious water causes. So we can advise this thing to reposition their Zakat and Hukusi commissions to provide regulatory oversight. Because in most cases they do, they say this is Zakat and Hukusi commission. They are calling a progressive individual to be taking their Zakat to them. And nobody will do that. Because there is distrust between the citizen and the government. We are not very sure if we enforce our Zakat, they will efficiently and effectively distribute it in accordance with the dictates of Sharia as Al-HABIBIYYAH society will do. But that's why people do not take their Zakat also. So instead of making the commission to be the card collector and distributor, make it a regulatory to the body to regulate, to ensure that those who support to pay the card are paying the card. And the Zakat being utilized as it should be utilized in accordance with Sharia dictates. If this is done, I think we are going to have a better operation of Zakat and Hukus in this country. Number 4, recommendation is that non-financial institutions, non-interest financial institutions that we don't like the non-interest banks, Jari, Nash, Prosper, these alternative ones, and so on and so forth. They are non-interest banks, and another non-interest financial institution should operate their Islamic operation by making deduction of Zakat, negotiate their profits. under the platform. So when it is made, not any further deduction will be made against it. Now, when we are advocating here, and we are recommending as a matter of policy, is for these non-interest banks and other non-interest financial institutions to factor the card in their deduction before paying the dividend on behalf of investment, their investors, the members, and the representatives of the SME. In other clients, other jurisdictions, they are doing this. So that if somebody has his investment, this is valid plan, he doesn't need to worry to start calculating because he knows the card will be paid. The same way class will be paid. If the owners make a case that this is a dividend and this is also one, go for social property, and therefore no compensation will be. And that is the case. That's the point. So let the same thing apply to the church, they call that robotic, so that those authorities that are going to make this, they will qualify to answer, and then they will have to now, policy number 5, arising from this number 4, policy recommendation number 5, the distribution of corporate zakat be done under the oversight of their advisory committee of experts. Advisory committee of experts are usually adults for each of the non-interest financial institutions. They ask us who are knowledgeable of the zakat and the zakat administration, so the zakat deduction of this institution should be given to the advisory council of experts so that they will distribute according to the Islamic dictate. I can see the NCR warning me and telling me because I already have a mind to pay that was ancestral. It is not for me, but now I don't want to take another one that I'm going to give us. I'm going to stop on this and make us make our leaders to listen to what we are saying and make us give them the courage and the capacity to those who are experts in this field to continue with the conversation and the guidance that is going to be established by the media society. With this remarks,